I think it's a great time for us to be talking about how can boards be more effective, more connected, more influential in guiding their companies through this period of economic and technology change.
I think every board struggles with how to have an effective and productive conversation about technology at the board level.
It can become quite difficult to see through the forest into the trees and make good decisions. I think an ideal relationship between a board and a technology leader starts with a common language and the ability for the business folks and the technology folks to be speaking off a common playbook.
I think it's okay, and I think we should all accept that not everyone is going to understand technology deeply, nor have the time to, even if they have the predisposition or interest.
We are not responsible for diving down and understanding the details around cloud computing or the details of social media. And in fact, I argue many times that we should put those terms away and talk in the terms that we are familiar with, which is engaging in an ongoing, continuous dialogue with our customer.
What I bring to the party is clarity. I turn the black boxes into something we can understand. It's a highly specialized function. I think that's my duty back to my management colleagues as well as the board.
If it's understandable to the board, if it's understandable to the shareholders, that just means it's probably more relevant and more executable. I think a key red flag for a board member is if it appears that the business strategy and the technology strategy are not very well integrated.
Our technology strategy plan is our business plan, so we're always reviewing that with our board. I mean, that's our lifeblood. What are we hoping to achieve? What are our objectives through all that? And whether that's driving top-line revenue growth, whether that's reducing costs, whether that's increasing the amount of information that's available to key decision makers.
There are 5 critical questions the board should be asking CIOs and, quite frankly, their organizations.
The first critical question I think boards should ask about technology is how integrated is the technology strategy and the key technology activities in the business strategy. More and more these days, the business strategy and the technology strategy should virtually become one.
So when boards are starting to assess strategies and whether or not they're feasible or not, they need the CIO, quite honestly, to give them a good understanding of really what is the current state of their environment.
What are they doing to really provide value, increase revenue, decrease costs, however the organization defines value?
I clearly lay out, here's what we anticipate, how much we expect to spend, and then I would make the ROI case of here's the positive impact on the business. And that will either be to new products that we're able to deliver, serve our existing clients better, or help keep people happy here at Equilar.
This is where they should really, quite frankly, use their business intuition and their business skills to say, okay, if I was on the other end of that, would this make sense to me? This is where one of those things where I think boards really, sub-optimize their skill set in this process. If it doesn't smell right, they should raise their hand and say, wait a minute, how do we even think this is going to produce some business result off the back end of that?
Have they increased or decreased business agility in the last year? Their ability to sense and respond to things that are going on in the marketplace. That question isn't often asked in boardrooms or even in organizations. They just make investments and assume something good will happen.
The board should be really focused on how are we innovating? How are we leapfrogging our competitors? give me a sense of how we are going to use the information that we have obtained to be able to make better decisions about our offering and how we deliver it and our efficiencies.
Today, boards can too often get caught up in the flavor of the day from a technology perspective. Certainly cloud, data and analytics, social media, all these things are incredibly important, but you have to really have a sense of how those emerging technologies impact your business.
A large part of my role, either with the board or with my peers and leadership here in the business, is education. So I spend a lot of time just educating, not only on the emerging technologies that have really come to the front in the last couple of years, but the more traditional and long existing technologies that have been in corporate environments.
What is the business capabilities of some of these emerging technologies? What does an iPad allow you to do? What does social media allow you to do? What does cloud computing allow you to do? And then being able to understand those capabilities and then apply them in a business context. How effective and efficient is your IT shop? Because that really is the type of thing that on an ongoing basis, like any part of the business, has to be run very efficiently, very effectively. And I think one of the corollaries to that is what is the status of kind of your leadership team? Because this technology stuff is really, really hard, and you need great leaders to make sure that it's run well and also provides value to the company.
You have to continue to treat those of us in the IT function as your specialists, the subject matter experts. But I think what has changed for us is we are no longer just the executors. We have to also be good educators around what the possibilities are. And as a result, we are much more business generalists than we were historically, even 5 or 10 years ago. Give us the opportunity to weigh in and participate in the conversations on the business problems, and you'd be amazed at the solutions we might be able to offer up.
It's important for boards to either start, continue, or evolve the conversation around business strategies, technology strategies. It's important to talk about the benefits of disruptive technologies. It's important to talk about the risk those technologies may represent. And ultimately, it's important to have those conversations around how you're going to leverage the economic and technology landscape for the benefit of your companies, your shareholders, your customers, and your whole ecosystem.